So the problem is people are not letting go of the past, and it's holding them back from what God truly has planned for them. Once again, people are not letting go of the past, and is holding them back from what God has planned for them. So, are you still looking back at this Christmas season and you're holding on to something or someone in your past that's kind of prohibiting you from actually moving forward? Is there something that is not present in your life that is holding you back from having the true happiness and joy that we believe that the Bible says that we should have? Here are just a few examples. I was kind of writing these down earlier on today. A few examples of things in our past that hold us back from our best lives today and our best lives tomorrow, okay? And number one is, this is still part of the problem. The problem is that your mindset, thinking that it's too late to start over. Like maybe, I hear this all the time. Well, I'm too old. You're lucky, you're younger, so you can still do it. That is right there, that is stinking thinking. I don't care if you're 60, 50, or 85. It's never too late to start over. And don't say, well, that's easy for you to say, because I actually have plenty of testimonials from people that have started over past a certain age, which I won't say the exact number, but they were a lot older than me. So the problem is, one of the problems is that we have to get past this stinking thinking to think that, oh man, it's just too late for me, okay? Number two, this is one that's been very present in my life here lately, and I hate to say it, and I hate it. If I offend anybody on here that's actually my friend or was my past friend, it is what it is, and it doesn't mean it's necessarily for you. But there's haters and there's friends from the past, and they cannot understand who you've become. So therefore, they do not support you. So they look at who you used to be in the past, for example, me. They look at like, okay, Justin used to be a party animal. Justin used to be, drinking more than all of us. Justin used to have more parties than all of us. Justin used to be with every girl under the sun. And all these kind of bad things that I used to be involved with in my past. Just like in your situation, maybe you sat there and made a change in your life and people can't truly support who you are today because they're remembering who you were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's kind of amazing how I sat there and made this change and this transformation over 7 years ago, and people still, they can't sit there and see me of who I am today. They won't support who I am today. They just sit there and they stay focused in on my past. Well, I got news for you. Stay tuned into this message, and I promise you, it's going to sit there and change your mind about a lot of things. I don't know if you're the person that's looking at people that way because they have that bad past, or you're the person that's getting frowned upon because you've made the change. And because you've made the change, people aren't supporting you. And that's kind of part of my story, but you know what? It never stops me. It actually motivates me, by the way. But anyways, number three, this is still part of the problem, is past relationships, romantic relationships, past lovers that we used to have hold us back. They hold us back. And once again, I'm going to use me as the guinea because I always tell you guys about my good, my bad, my ugly. More my bad, but anyways, the whole point is I use it because for the purpose of hoping and praying and believing that you will be able to relate in some way and then also change. And my previous marriage, okay, and once again, I know I keep on bringing this up, but it's actually really brought me to who I am today. Praise God for that. But I sat there, when we actually separated, and I held on for a long time, okay? It was 1 year, then it was 2 years of my life, then it was 3 years of my life. And people were saying I was crazy. Why are you holding on? Da, 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 da. Life is short. And I heard all these things. And then 4 years goes by, plus 4 years. And at that point in time, God sat there and said, you know, it's time to release. I had so many confirmations from so many different people that I believed that they were giving me a word from the Lord. But the whole point is sometimes we're holding on to something that we're supposed to let go of. And it doesn't mean that something may not be the right thing at the right time. But if you're holding on and you're forcing and you're always trying to like make something happen, that's not God's design plan. You know, once again, like I said in the previous, part of the problem with friends and relationships, just like with past lovers, even though you've hurt them, they have a decision, they have a choice to forgive you and say, okay, let's do this. But if they're not going to do that and you see that, there's no reason for you to hold on forever, because I'm going to tell you, my situation, it would have been better off for me to let go a long time ago, because, and I can tell you why here later on in the message. Let's just sit there and leave it there for now. Number 4 of part of the problem points is what you used to have in the past with your possessions. Maybe you sat there and used to have a lot of good real estate, or a lot of great stocks, or a great job, or a nice car, and you ended up losing your possessions, okay? And you can't get past the fact of what you remember what you used to have. When I was this age, I used to have this. I remember the days when I had, on all that garbage that continues to toxify your mind and keep you stuck in your past, okay? Today, if you're here, I'm hoping you're here for the right reasons. You're here to sit there and get past your past so you can sit there and live your best life today and tomorrow and from here on out, and have the best Christmas of your entire life. Once again, I'm only saying the word Christmas because we're in the Christmas season, and then not to mention I believe that the word the Lord gave me. So don't get all like, oh my goodness, this is all about hyping up Christmas and all that kind of stuff. That right there, my friend, is stinking thinking. If you want to sit there and meditate on that and receive that seed, that's up to you. I won't. If you do, that's up to you though. Number 5. Past accomplishments. Past accomplishments or failures are prohibiting us from stepping into our new season. Past accomplishments. Maybe you sat there and, you did really well for a long time, right? And then all of a sudden now you're not in that great position, because before you had sat there and accomplished this and this and this, and now you're going through a dry spell, right? Or maybe the opposite. Maybe you sat there and failed at something miserably, right? You failed deeply, and now you're wondering like, oh man, it's too late to start over, or it's just too hard. And that past mistake or that past success is holding you back from going forward. Can anybody sit there and raise their hand and say, you know what, I've been there before? With any of these 5 things, whether it has to do with a relationship, or whether it has to do with a past accomplishment or failure, or it has to do with friends that have tried to hold you in the past because of who you used to be, or a certain mindset. Well, if you won't raise your hand, I'll raise it for myself, because I've been there. And you know what, like I always tell you, if I have to teach and preach to myself, that's what I'll do here. That's what we do on these walk and talks. So anyways, before we get into the solution, because we're getting ready to get in the solution right now, let's get one thing clear and out of the gate. Your past does not equal your future. Once again, your past, I don't care who it is, Diana, Amanda, Smiley, whoever is on here tonight, does not equal your future. So who you were yesterday, who you were today when you weren't feeling good, who you were when you felt like a victim, or who you were like whatever, it does not equal who you have to be going forward. So let's just make sure that we're clear on that, because we're not going to have any excuses going forward because we're not going to stay stuck here on these walk and talks. What we do is we rally together and we march forward to victory. You hear me? We march forward to victory. But how we do that is we have to remember that our past does not define us. Our past does not equal our future. So, now we're to the solution. Isn't that great? We're already done with the problem. There's only 3 quick keys that are going to get you and they're going to get me ready to sit there and step in to the next best season of our life. And the solution is that there's 3 keys to let the past go and step into God's amazing plan that He has for your life. So 3 keys are going to sit there and let us go from there in the back to going forward. So right now, if you're stuck and there's certain things in your past that are weighing you down or people that are trying to make you feel as if you're not worthy of going forward, I'm going to tell you right now, that's a lie. Because you are worthy and you are worth it. Okay? So number 1 is we have to remember, according to the Word of God, that's what we use here on this channel. It's called the playbook. Well, we call it the playbook. The Bible, the Bible. It says, don't look back. Point number 1 is do not. You hear me? Do not look back. Isaiah 43:18. Do not call to the former things or ponder things of the past. And when I was reading that today, and I've read that 100 times, maybe more, it says, do not ponder on the things of the past. What that means is don't meditate on these good times that you used to have back then. That's why we started off this message with a song of me back in the days when I used to sit there and be in the clubs and this and the other, and I'm dancing and chilling and with, thinking I'm cool and I got bottles and all this kind of stupid stuff. Don't even ponder on those moments because we're going to sit there and let go of those former things. Because those former things will lead you straight to flat on your face. And if you're just tuning in here and you don't know what we're talking about because you don't believe in God or you don't know who God is, stay tuned in. These common sense points make a lot of sense whether you believe in the Bible or not. Alexander Graham Bell says, when one door closes, another opens. And we've heard that 1,000 times. When one door opens, another door opens. But we often look so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which was opened for us. Meaning, sometimes we stay stuck in our past and we're looking back and we're like, man, that looks good. But there's other opportunities coming our way that are opening up to us, and we're not stepping into those opportunities because we're blinded thinking that these things behind us are the only way. And we just heard in the Bible, do not call to mind the former things or ponder on the things of the past. So first things first is let's go with the stinking thinking. Things that are in past, people that are in our past. If they don't like who we are today, okay. That's okay. Because there's a lot of other people that will like us. And they won't hold us to the cross for our past mistakes or errors. So point number 1 is do not look back. Okay? So we're not going to look back and get turned to salt, if you know what I mean. Number 2 is remember, there's a new journey. There's a new journey ahead. Isaiah 43:18-9 says, forget the former things. Forget the former things. Think about that. Let's not even go to the next sentence of that, this verse. Forget the former things. Forget the former things. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. You have to trust that. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and the streams in the wasteland. So right now, if you're going through the wilderness, in the streams, in the wasteland, Be encouraged. You're getting ready to get springed up as long as you got your trust in the right spots. Because if you're holding on to what's behind you, this doesn't apply. Because you have to let go of that. And once you let go, I told you there was a study after the first of the year, right? There's a chance that even when you let go of something maybe you really care about, that it could still be present in time. Doesn't mean that it's going to be, but I can tell you this. The best is yet to come in your life. Do you receive it? Guess what? I do. I do. Lyndon B. Johnson says, yesterday is not ours to recover, but tomorrow is ours to win or lose. Yesterday is not ours to recover, but tomorrow is ours to win or lose. So yesterday's behind us, and today, tomorrow is up to us to win or lose with it. Because if we're holding on to something or someone that's not present, or I used to have this house, or I used to have this, and I used to have that, you're gonna lose. If you wanna win, you have to release, free, whatever it is, and start marching forward and start having the victory in winning today. I know for a fact if you're on here, you're a champ. And if you're not a champ completely yet, you will be a champ because you're starting to feel that champs attract champs. And everybody on here is going to that level. And God is going to sit there and lift us up because we're going to free ourselves from the things that are pretty much holding us back from God's greatest. And we're going to step forward and we're going to sit there and choose to win, not lose. You know, it's a choice. You can choose to win or lose today. You have to let go of the past and remember that we have to start winning. We've talked about this before. Whether you live to 120, 80, 70, life is short. Let's choose to sit there no matter what you're going through, no matter how hard it is. Let's win together because like I've told you guys before, I'm still going through things, but guess what? I'm going through them because I'm going to get through them. And it's going to be so much sweeter because instead of me being stuck in the problem and be like, oh man, this is so hard. My past is so hard. You know, everything I went through, you just don't get it. You know, I was laid up in a hospital. I lost my house to foreclosure. My wife and kids left me. Blah, 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 blah. No. That's not how I roll. I used to roll that way. And I was the biggest victim on the planet. Everybody did me wrong. Right? But I had to let go of that old way of thinking, that old stinking mentality, and step forward and say, you know what? Today's a new day. Today is a new day. And it happened just like that. There was a change in a matter of a day. I literally sat there and said, I'm just not going to live this way anymore. I don't care what it feels like, how bad it gets. I am not going to continue to keep on letting myself have self-pity, right? And trust me, I had it for a long time. And you know what self-pity and victim mentality will get you? It will get you absolutely nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. It will just keep you stuck. Because self-pity and being a victim, it feels good, but it's just completely wasting you away. If you want to get out of that wasteland, if you want to get to the streams and just get out of that wilderness, we have to sit there and let go like that verse says so we can sit there and be sprung up, right? So today, I'm encouraging you, let go of things that are holding you back from your best and what God has planned for your life. We're down to the last point, the very last point. Point number 1 was don't look back. Point number 2 is it's a new journey. It's a new journey. And point number 3 is it's time to go forward. It's time for you and it's time for me to sit there and hit the gas and say, you know what? Instead of us being parked and then going in reverse, you know what? Time to go forward, okay? Philippians 3:13 and 14. I do not regard myself of having laid hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and reaching forward to what lies ahead. You hear that part? You have to reach forward, which means you have to go forward. It doesn't say reach behind and try to get what's holding you back. You know, like, oh man, I used to have this. I used to have this car. I used to have this woman. I used to have this man. everything was so great. Wait, if you keep on doing that, how are you going to sit there and allow God to open up what he has planned for you? The best life is ahead, not behind. That's why it says, forgetting what lies behind and reaching forward to what lies ahead. You got to reach. You got to persevere. You got to keep on going forward and understand there's something lying ahead. I press on towards the goal for the prize, the upward call in Christ Jesus. Okay? Here goes one more quote and then we're going to wrap up. There are things that we never want to let go of. There's certain things that you just don't want to let go of. People we never want to leave behind. But, keep in mind that letting go isn't the end of the world. It's the beginning of a new life. You guys hear me? It's the beginning of a new life. I don't know what you're holding on to. I don't know what's holding you back. I don't know what's been said to you that makes you feel like you can't sit there and receive something different going forward. But I'm here to tell you, if you apply 3 simple points, it's going to change your situation. It's going to change your environment. And it's going to change the deck of cards. Sometimes we have to let go of the old cards to get to the good cards. Okay? And point number 1 is we can't look back. If we're looking back in the rearview mirror, we're not going to go forward. So we cannot look back. Number 2 is we got to remember, today's a new journey. If our old friends, if our old, co-workers, this, that, family, whatever the case is, don't want to sit there and go forward the new journey, you got to let go. And then lastly, you got to remember, we're not trying to go backwards. We're not trying to go sideways. We're not trying to go this way. We're looking to go forward. Forward. I do these things to encourage you because I'm living it out myself. I am going forward. And things try to pull me off track. In this thought, in this feeling, in this emotion. Nope. Gotta stay focused. Gotta press forward. God has a great plan for my life and he has a great plan for your life. You just have to receive it. We've talked about receiving seeds. If you don't receive this one, like I said, there's nothing back there. You see that behind me? There's nothing back there. That is your past. You have to let something go, and maybe if there's something way back there, it may be present in time because you're not forcing it. You're letting it go, and then you're able to flow, and you're becoming the best version of yourself. Because here goes something else. When you're holding on to your past, it's not enabling you to become the best version of yourself. And like me, when I held on for 4 years, I was whittling away. I was getting very low, and it just got worse and worse and worse. It wasn't until I sat there and said, you know what? I release this. I release what I care about. Like, there's certain things that I want, but you know what? I have to let it go and march forward. And guess what's happened? A lot of good has happened. I've seen so much improvement, I can't even tell you in every single solitary which way possible. So we need to remember, it's never too late. Just like we had 5 points of the problem, now we have 5 points of the solution at the end. It's never too late. We need to leave the haters, the past, and those who don't understand, leave them in the past. If they don't want to sit there and understand today, let them go, because we're marching forward. If they don't understand and see your change of heart, then let them deal with that. And to be honest, me and my brother talked about this here recently, Salty. It stems down to unforgiveness about something. And if they can't forgive you, then guess what? That's something that they have to deal with when it comes to God. Number 3, we have to step in to a new season. A new season with new relationships. If the old ones are gone, that's okay, old friends. Guess what? There's plenty of people that want to be your friend. There's somebody out there. You may not feel like it right now. You're probably like, man, I'm by myself. You just don't get it. This, that, and the other. Trust me. Stay tuned in these walk and talks. You'll have more friends than you could ever imagine in your entire life. My new group of friends, my good friends, actually dwell, a lot of them, on these walk and talks, and I absolutely love it. And I'm talking about virtual friends. I'm talking about friends that want to sit there and connect, come together. So once again, if you're lacking and you've sat there and have all these old friends used to be in your life, let it go. And then, not to mention, like I've always mentioned before, you never know. Your future husband and your future wife may be on this walk and talk. So you know what, champ? Show up and look your best every night, okay? We have to believe that the best is yet to come, and what you had in the past will not compare to what God has in store for you in the future. You hear me? The best is yet to come, and we have to believe that God has the best in the future, not in the past, because His Word says so, okay? Live in today and not yesterday, and become the best version of yourself, and leave the results up to God, okay? I'm gonna finish with this, okay? 1 Corinthians 2:9, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, nor the heart of man imagined what God has prepared for those who love Him. You can't even imagine what God is gonna do in your life. You just can't. But you have to sit there and be obedient and trust Him. You have to let go of some things that are holding you back. Maybe there's certain things, maybe there's certain actions that you're taking daily. You have to sit there and let these things go and become, step into like the new version of yourself. Because if you got things that are weighing you down and holding you, victim to your past, you have to step into being a victor. Be a victor and not a victim. Last thing. Do like Jesus. No negativity. No haters, relationships, possessions, or anything in his past detoured him. He knew his mission and left the past in the past and kept it moving. I want to end with this little story of myself. I remember calling up my buddy Tony Portugal, and he's actually going to be speaking here pretty soon on one of these walk and talks. And this is when I was actually going through one of the hardest parts of my separation. And I'll never forget it. I was in my mom's backyard. I was actually getting sun, shirtless, and I was looking up and I was calling him up and I was like, listen, Tony, I called him up. You don't understand. It's so bad. She won't come back, this and the other. And I'm complaining. And he's like, Justin, he goes, let me ask you a question. This is a very big man, a guy that has had his whole entire life transformed. And when you guys hear Tony Portugal, you're going to want him to come back over and over and over. This guy is beyond anointed. They call him Elijah, by the way. But anyways, the whole point is he sat there and said, Justin, he said, what would Jesus do? I said, well, Jesus would wait. He would pray. He would fast. And he goes, well, have you prayed yet? And I said, yeah, I prayed a ton. He's like, have you fasted yet? I'm like, I fasted. This and the other. He goes, I'm going to tell you what Jesus would do. I said, what's that, Tony? And it was never the answer that I was expecting, but I remember it changed my life forever. He said, Justin, Jesus didn't have time for that kind of stuff. He said, Jesus kept it moving. He wasn't holding on to his past. He was looking forward at his mission. And he got spit on, he got mocked, he got beat, and all these kind of things, but he just kept on going all the way to the cross. Now, I don't care how bad you have it. You don't have it like he did. And he kept on moving, and he kept on staying the course, and he knew what his mission was. We have to remember, life is short. If you want to hold on to the past, you'll never see what God has planned for you for the future. Jesus, Lord.